Do you remember when you hit your number? You know, the 2 commas, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million. You hit the number and you still didn't have the confidence. You still have maybe some anxiety. You didn't feel the freedom that you thought you were going to feel. And all of a sudden you learned doubling your money doesn't double your confidence. I'm Nick Yeomans, your retirement coach. Today we're going to talk about the things that hinder us from feeling confident and free with our money. You know, accumulating $1 million is a great milestone. As a matter of fact, many people would say hitting the first $1 million is the hardest thing, but hitting the subsequent million, so getting to 2 million is easier, getting to 3 million, even easier, getting to 4 or 5 million, even easier. Once you have that momentum, it's almost addictive to continue to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. We start losing focus of some of the goals maybe we originally set out with. Maybe there were things in our life that were really important to us. Goals, objectives, dreams. You know, we wanted to go sailing. We wanted to go cruise. We wanted to restore an old boat. We wanted to do something that was meaningful. But it's really easy when you're in accumulation mode to stay in accumulation mode. There's almost an air or a sense of, am I being a good steward? Is it okay if I feel like this? Well, let's pause for a minute and let me help you. If you have $1 million, $3 million, $5 million, $10 million, I want to help ensure you that all of you share one thing in common. You all feel like it could be gone tomorrow. One mistake, one decision, one bad market, one political change. You are one thing away from losing freedom. You're one thing away from losing this thing that you put so much time, effort, and energy to gain. So what do? Well, I think it's helpful to reflect, what is the purpose of the money? Because don't forget, there is the quantitative side of the money, and then there's the qualitative side. What was the purpose? What was the reason that we accumulated it in the first place? Well, to retire, Nick. Excellent. At what point in time do you feel the freedom and the confidence to retire successfully, and really do the things that you said you wanted to do? I want to help. I think there is a diminishing return on the amount of millions we start creating after enough is enough. Well, Nick, how do you know enough's enough? Well, that's where the coach, the guide, the expert comes in to try to help you match the quantitative part of your life with the qualitative part of your life. How much money do you really need to do the things that you care about, that you're called to do, that you're on mission to do, that would allow you to step confidently into the next phase of your life, the next adventure? You see, once we establish what that is, there's freedom in that. But for many of us, we have one of two problems. One, we have a confidence problem. Do I have enough? Do I really have enough? What's the one thing that could take it all away? What might cause me to lose it? You see, you get really one chance to retire well, and you don't get do-overs, you don't get second chances. Trust the coach, trust the process. Here's the second problem that many people experience. It's a lack of contentment. You know, when I think about my faith and this idea of being content wherever I find myself, that doesn't mean that we can't have ambition and goals, but it means wherever we are in the journey, find contentment. And many times we're chasing after the next 500,000, the next $1 million. But why? What's the purpose? Is it just to accumulate for the sake of accumulation? And there's nothing wrong with growing your money. Hey, I'm all about growing my own wealth, okay? I help people every day grow their wealth. But there has to be a reason why. There has to be something we're driving to, be it an income that would give us freedom and flexibility and security. Maybe it is that dollar amount because it would allow for us to do the passion project, to be really generous. Story time. Let's talk about Kim and Andrew Jones. Kim was a friend of mine and a colleague. She ran a really successful financial planning practice here in the United States. Kim and her husband accumulated over $7 million of wealth. She had a very successful practice, and he had successfully garnered a really excellent pension. They were never going to hurt for money. But here's the deal. One day, after Sunday service, they went and had brunch. They started talking about what their enough number was. How much was enough? They mutually came very quickly, actually, to what that number was. They felt God calling them to a different purpose, a different passion, like a different adventure to go out towards. And so they started marching towards this adventure, and it was an adventure so worth it. Have you ever wondered what happens to orphans when they age out? They're 18 years old. What happens next? Well, my friends, they did think about that, and they felt it laid on their heart with such passion and such purpose that they knew they wanted to do something for this specific person, these orphans. When they hit their enough number, which again was just over $7 million, Kim sold her practice. And with the proceeds of the sale of the practice, they started a nonprofit. And the whole mission of that nonprofit is to be there, to be a support, to be a community, to serve those kids aging out of orphanages. Wow, that's purpose. There had to be something more than just accumulating the next million. They had to get off that cycle. And they were able to have that difficult conversation. For some of us, we need the coach, the guide, we need the advisor that we can trust and lean on to help us establish what's enough and to really point the money in the direction of our next heartbeat, our next passion, our next purpose. If you have that calling on your life to do something bigger than just accumulate wealth, seek advice, seek wise counsel, and take that next step. I'm Nick Yeomans, your retirement coach. Thanks for joining us. Stay coachable.
Investment advice offered through Merit Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor.